Hey guys, Deathletter Magic here, and it's time to spread some more truth on the internet. So with all the protests and all the Black Lives Matter stuff going on, I asked in the last video, should I make a video about this or should I not? Because everybody is, and that's the theme this week, I guess. And the overwhelming amount of people said, yeah, do it. I still wasn't going to, but I have seen so much misinformation and stupidity. Oh my gosh. Let's clear all this up right quick, and I would highly challenge you to not be one of those petty little snowflakes who turns off the video the second I say something you don't like. Listen to the whole thing. I don't care if you leave a damn angry comment down below. Willingly ignorant people are not going to like this video. Oh well. But I don't want to piss off everybody in the first minute, so let's talk about the cop problem. Yes, it is a problem. And yes, one of my family members was a cop. Still, in the tiny amount of random dealings I've had with the cops, I'm not talking about like some picnic they threw in the, parking lot to, give out brats and be nice. That don't count. They're putting on a show. Just in getting pulled over for doing something stupid in traffic, or, shooting off fireworks and them questioning why we're at some place at 1 a.m., which we have every right to be at. Or them stopping me on the street while I'm playing Pokemon Go because they think I'm somebody that I'm not, that they're looking for, whatever. Just the average, whatever interaction with a cop. A lot of them are cool, but I would say 1 in 5, probably 1 in 5 cops I've had to deal with are just immediately worthy of firing. Immediately. And it's not about race, it's just about that individual, okay? It's about that cop and why he became a cop. Or she, but the male cops are usually the more dickish ones. Some people do it to help out, they want to help the community, they want to do something. All the right reasons. Then you've got the people who are just like, I like power. I want to boss people around. I don't like bad people, so I'm going to treat them badly, and I'm going to make them pay. I mean, everybody wants criminals to pay, but it's not the best mindset to necessarily go into the career with. If you can't, keep it proper, keep it polite, keep it within the law, or really just department policy or common decency or anything. Why are so many cops such assholes? Actually, I just answered my own question, because they went into the field to be assholes to people with authority. You can get away with a lot more when people give you power. Well, then there's the cops that have, been a cop for 10 years. They've seen everything, had to deal with the worst that society has to offer. And they might have started off with the right mindset, but at this point, they have lost all faith in humanity. And just everybody, they pull up and they're like, yeah, guilty. Yeah, look at his clothes and the way he talks. Yeah, he's guilty. Yeah, he did that. Yeah, he's a scumbag. Yeah, I have zero respect for this person as a human. Yeah, those are the problem cops. And like I said, 1 in 5. Does that seem high to anybody? Now, some departments are aware of it, they've had problems, they've had complaints, they've had to fire people, and they're like, okay, we're going to scrutinize people coming in a little bit closer and only hire the right type of people who became a cop for the right reasons. And other ones are like, I don't care, we only had 3 applicants, here, pick this one. Now, you go to any random, medium to big city, I'd say, in America, and the cops are probably just fine. That's why all these people saying, all cops are evil, all cops are racist, all cops are this way. No, not even the majority. You're delusional. But there are ones where from the ground up, I'd name them, but I don't need that kind of attention. But we all know probably which one I'm talking about in America. I'll give you a hint. They've been a problem for like 20 years, and it's not LA. It's also not New York. But separate from that, it's the small town cops where they're all buddy-buddy. There's, 3 to 5 of them. They all cover for each other. They have their own little set of rules and policies. And, they got their own way of treating people that they see as lesser than them because they're a criminal committing a crime. They're not there to enforce the law or help people. They're there to punish people that they don't like. They're there to get the bad guys. Lock them up forever. Who cares? They lost. They don't get to be in society anymore. Yeah, that's how we do things in this town. Those are the problem cops. Okay? It's not the freaking Toledo, Ohio cops, which I'm sure are lovely. You know why? Because there's enough of them that if somebody does something stupid, the majority will be like, well, what's going on here? Oh, look, corruption, get rid of them. Oh, look, somebody acting, bad, fire them. Like, they have policies, they have investigations, they have people who give a crap about their jobs. It's the smaller city and town cops that are very much more likely to be abusing their power and getting away with stuff. So, bad news for all you guys who live in big cities. You don't have it worse than the smaller towns, trust me. I travel a lot for work. And they just get this mindset where they're so sick of dealing with stupid criminals and people, attacking them, fighting them, people on drugs and having to, just put up with all the crap they do in a day that they're just like, you know what, screw these people. We're going to treat them like crap. And it's going to be acceptable. And if somebody has a complaint, we'll just cover it up. If they legitimately went too far doing something, they'll just cover it up. That's fine. And honestly, in almost any police department, if some cop screws up and breaks a law, minor or major, everybody rushes to their defense. All of a sudden, nobody saw anything. Nobody wants to testify against their coworker. And, well, that makes it an awful lot harder to prosecute, don't you think? There just is no accountability. I mean, what's the best you can do if you think that a cop said something unbelievably offensive to you, like during, I don't know, a traffic ticket or who knows? I mean, what if he says to like some woman who was speeding, well, you wouldn't have been going so fast if you weren't so ugly, or, you know, something probably more realistic than that, but like something just like deeply out of line. What recourse do you have? Tell them to piss off? Well, you're getting a ticket. You have to kiss their ass to not get a ticket. That whole system, don't even get me started. But, I mean, what can that person do? Call up the thing, file a complaint, and then it goes in some drawer and whatever. I'm sure after they get 50 complaints, they'll pretend to give a crap. I mean, what do you do if there's no cameras rolling and a cop tells you, if you don't get out of your car right now, I'm going to bash your head in with a baton? I've heard stories like that. That's literally a criminal threat. They cannot do that. But some cops get away with that all the time. And then their partner, oh, they heard it. Oh, suddenly the footage disappeared off the dash cam. That's so weird. And then things blow up when somebody else is filming and they didn't know it. When a cop gets, you know, busted looking like an asshole, breaking policy, rules, laws, whatever, and then somebody was filming and they didn't realize it, then they usually walk up to the person that was filming and threaten them. It's like, it's just, these people never should have been hired, and there's nothing the average person can do about it. What are you gonna do, punch them? There's a year in jail minimum. These people can walk around doing whatever the hell they want. Everybody covers for them, and unless there's actual evidence, it's your word versus theirs. I guess that's just the way it has to be, because every single person who's butthurt about getting a speeding ticket would say, well, he threatened to do this, or he did that, he broke this on my car. Yeah, I don't have proof, but he did that. I don't know if you knew this or not, but criminals are lying assholes. They're scumbags. A lot of them, at least. Yeah, a lot of them are just drug addicts and need help and wouldn't be committing the crime if they weren't addicted to cocaine, like whatever. But yeah, the whole infrastructure is just bullshit. I guess the only solution is badge cams. That's why they've been rolling them out, because everybody realizes from the top to the bottom on every side of this, you know, every color, every background, the cops themselves, random people, minorities who feel they're oppressed, the actual criminals themselves, everybody agrees, badge cams, let's go. And they have been rolled out. They are mandatory in a lot of states in America. And it's caught on, you know, overseas, Europe, everywhere. There you go. Now everything you do is being scrutinized, and usually the policy is if you switch that badge cam off or something happens to the footage, you're fired. In my opinion, that's pretty much, you've got a witness 24/7. That solves 99% of the problems. So what's left is people complaining about, well, all cops are racist, they target black people, blah, 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 whatever. That's allegedly what all these protests are about. Let's break down this individual issue that spawned this. We had 4 officers, 4 different races. I guess if you add them all up, it was like 7 different races, I think. Like between the 4 of them, so you can't just say, oh, it's a bunch of white guys again. Hell, I'm white and I think I'm 4 different races. Irish, German, Dutch, and possibly British. I don't even know, and I don't even care. I was born here, I'm American, the end. So what happened in this case? Well, let's cut the bullshit. The officer and the guy he was pinning to the ground, they knew each other for 10 years. Evidence would suggest they didn't like each other. I even heard somewhere that like they might be loosely related, like they might be like in-laws or something. Okay, they knew each other. He knew who that was when he arrested him. He was overly pissed because he had a chip on his shoulder because he didn't like him. And he was, let me think, drunk, had lung damage from smoking, had general bad health because of fentanyl abuse, and he was being arrested for trying to pass off counterfeit money at a Chinese restaurant, I believe it was. So you show up to that and you're like, oh, that's that guy I know. Great, I hate him. That's why Captain Dumbass decided to get overly aggressive, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he actively thought, I'm gonna just kill him and get away with it. So this had literally 0 to do with race. 0. 0. 0. Do you know how many black people kill white cops all the time on the job, and how many black cops have to shoot white people while on the job, and nobody gives a shit? I know some dumbass millennials and Antifa members or whatever would be like, yeah, that's the cops abusing their power, even though they like, you know, hello, drew a weapon on them and threatened them, put 4 shots into the wall behind him. It's still, oh, the cop murdered him. Get a clue. Every single one of these outrage mob things that go on Twitter has been debunked. Every single damn one of them, except I think this year 2, where the cop was found to have done something wrong. The rest are just sensationalized and edited to be misleading and fit the narrative. People like to lie. People like to get people riled up. They like to have the attention. It makes them money. They get sponsors. They show ads. So unless the officer in this case was some secret racist and it was all based off of race and he never did like people that color anyway, first of all, how did that never come up in his entire service history if he's willing to do that to somebody? And secondly, it doesn't matter. We'll never know. But the vast majority of cops aren't racist. Everybody going around in 2020 screaming racism, racism, racism. Everybody's racist. All white people are racist. All men are against women and everybody's a victim who's a minority. That's pretty disrespectful to like 1950. That's racism. Go to China right now and find a sign on an apartment building that says no blacks allowed. That's racism, okay? You looked at this person for 0.7 seconds too long. That's a microaggression. That's not racism. That's just your delusional bullshit. Not letting black people ride the same bus, go to the same school, use the same water fountain. That's racism. That is based off of just your skin color. You are less than me. You're, I don't know, genetically inferior, whatever the hell the basis for it was. I don't know. Sounds ridiculous to me. I mean, even back in the Civil War, owning another person, owning a human being. What the hell was wrong with those people? I will never be able to understand racists. Other than they like to dump on people. It's not really about skin. It's about power. It's about, oh, I'm better than them and that makes me feel good. Whatever. Well, guess what? It's not 1950, okay? The people who were around and in control of the economy and jobs are either dead or retired. In 2020, you have every damn chance. And I get it. People are like, yeah, I'm black and my parents were discriminated against and now they have no money. So my upbringing was from the get-go, like I'm not going to college. I have to work hard. I'm basically playing the game of life on hard mode and not everybody else is. Okay, first of all, the vast majority of people, regardless of color or any other factor in America, are not rich. Far from it. Not even middle class. This myth that like, oh, all white people are rich and they all just like are born with piles of money thrown at them. Did I miss that? Because I'm white and that didn't happen to me. I had every disadvantage ever. My mom was a mom and my dad worked for a nonprofit. We didn't have a damn penny. Plus, they were abusive assholes some of the time. Guess what? Because I'm like, I'm gonna just distance myself from this shit and make something out of myself. I worked super hard, paid for college, worked summer jobs, worked double jobs after college. I mean, I graduated in 08 when the economy collapsed. Wonderful. Well, summer of 07 looking for a job in 08. Same thing. But yeah, I got 2 degrees, immediately worked a garbage job that I didn't like that was a temporary 1-year project just to put it on my resume. I mean, it's like, the measures I went to just not be like homeless. Fast forward, I still got some debt I'm paying off. It ain't pretty, okay? And I'm 32. I had every disadvantage and I made it work, and all through school. All through school, what did I hear? My whole life. You act different. You're poor. You're one of the smart kids. You speak differently. We don't like you. You're from that side of town. Your parents only own 1 car. It's just pecking order bullshit. It's if somebody's like, yeah, and my whole upbringing was my skin color. They're gonna find something. People will find a reason, okay? If you're in an Xbox 360 lobby in like 2010 and everybody's calling you the N-word, it's not because they're racist and they just, oh, I hate black people. It's they're a dick and they're saying whatever they think will piss you off the most. That's right, people literally dropping N-bombs casually are not necessarily racist, they're just assholes. Every time I see some viral video of some white person treating a black person badly with zero evidence, oh, it's about race, because every white person is secretly racist. If we had a time machine, every single person who thinks like that, I'd stuff their ass in it and send them back to 1950. Then they could see what racism's like. Hell, get on an airplane and go to China. Go experience it for yourself. That's racism, okay? What you have right now is paranoia. It's delusional. It's the whole very seductive feeling of, well, everybody tells me I'm a victim. Everybody tells me that the whole world's out to get me, and that's what's wrong with everything in my life. That's Black Lives Matter, that's Antifa, that's everyone. They're like, you're a victim, you're a victim, you're a victim. Same with feminism. Hey, all women, you're a victim. You're constantly discriminated against. It's just secret, it's subtle, it's this, it's that. And then they just manufacture bullshit, like this gender pay gap that doesn't exist. Google, one of the biggest tech companies in the US, they investigated it for like 2 years and found they were actually overpaying women. Whoopsies. And then people get so riled up and then they're like, yeah, but I don't see it. I want to do something about this. I want to make an example. I want to, all this stuff that people are telling me about, this constant racism, I want to expose it. But they just sit there and everybody treats them just fine in their daily life. So you got the Jussie Smolletts out there faking hate crimes. And that asshole's rich. He's got everything. Like literally successful by any benchmark in their life. They have wealth, they have popularity, they've got a fan base, they've got a job, they've got money. Oh, but I'm so oppressed. It's just like the NBA players. Shut the hell up. I don't think they let black people in to watch the game of basketball in 1950. Now you're getting paid multi-million-dollar contracts. Shut the hell up. Now, I'm not saying that racism doesn't exist in America. I have met some ignorant idiots, okay? What they say behind closed doors when they know that nobody who cares will be, in on the conversation, it's amazing. But it's 2020. You say any of that stuff publicly, you do any of that, there's laws, not to mention the social backlash. Oh my gosh, does anybody who feels discriminated have the community at their back? If somebody publicly says, hey, get out of my way, black person, and shoves them on the sidewalk or whatever, holy crap, 90% of people are going to be up in their face, calling them a stupid racist and like doxing them on the internet. Like it is over for them. The level of acceptance of any form of discrimination is like zero in America. So all these ignorant dumbasses can think whatever they want, and it's a tiny percentage, trust me. But if they're stupid enough to express it or act on it, their life is over. They are now labeled that way forever. Welcome to cancel culture. Sometimes it's merited, usually it's not. But all this screaming, I'm a victim, I'm discriminated by literally every group that's ever existed in America, it's gotten people so on edge that they're like, I'm actually, one, aware of it, and two, I'm going to feel real bad if I don't jump all over the next instance I see of this. So people are just ready to be like, no, not acceptable. That's where you grew up, okay? Not to mention, like I said, if you're born in America and you're like, oh, my life is so terrible and everybody discriminates against me and this is so unfair, try being born in, like, Sudan. Oh, I guess your life's not that bad. You know what I think racism is? Killing like 50,000 refugees with machetes because you don't like them in your country because they're wasting your resources. You know what I think racism is? Hitler. You were born in America, in all likelihood, unless you screwed up your own damn life, you have nothing to complain about. Yes, you might run into an ignorant racist idiot once in a while. Yes, you may experience discrimination once in a while. So have I, so has everybody. It's either gender or it's religion or it's just pick something somebody doesn't like about you, they're now going to treat you differently because of it because they don't like you because of that. Acting like skin color is the only factor is ridiculous and blowing it completely out of proportion. Not to mention, hate to keep going back to it, but completely disrespectful to the past, the 1950s-ish. And that's just American history. Now it's time for the part of the video that I guarantee, if you agree with the rest, oh, this might piss you off, but, well, the truth hurts. Racism from like 1900 onward went down, 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 and then just kind of hit a wall. It just kind of hit its limit where it leveled off. Why isn't it gone? And I do mean purely in the context of black people because of what's going on right now. If I were to boil it down to two reasons that racism is still alive in America in 2020 in a small percentage of the population, crime statistics and BET, Black Entertainment Television. Maybe I shouldn't throw them exclusively under the bus. Let's just say black culture. When I say the word black culture, what comes to mind? Exactly. Now, there are stupid, ignorant, wrong stereotypes that are inaccurate, they're bullshit, and they need to be dispelled. And then there's actual facts, numbers, statistics that are, like, real. So, I mean, just violent crime 2018. Federally tracked number, verified everything. Black people victimizing white people, 550,000. Black people attacking Hispanics, 112,000. White on black crime, 59,000. Well, that's 10 times less, isn't it? This particular chart doesn't have black on black, probably because it doesn't fit on the chart. I know that purely for homicides, if you're a black person, you're 8 times more likely to get shot by another black person, or killed in any way, not necessarily guns, than any other skin color at all. So people know this, they've heard this, they've seen this, and they're told in their daily life, yeah, but to be polite, you're supposed to, you know, treat black people equally, obviously. There's nothing wrong with looking at those numbers and be like, holy crap, black people need to get their shit together, but then at the individual level, treat them like a human being, like anybody else, give everybody equal chance until they've proven themselves to be either a terrible person or a wonderful person or anything in between. Anything else is called prejudice. Even at these numbers, what percentage of the total black population in the US do you think ever committed a crime? Exactly. So it's like, you can scrutinize certain groups and be like, this is what's wrong with certain groups. I mean, I could go and say everything wrong with China right now. Government, pollution, government, and government. Oh, am I racist for saying that? No, like you can analyze from the outside what's wrong with a group based on like facts, statistics, known things. If I met a Chinese person, would I like unload it all on them and be like, oh, at the individual level, you're responsible for every person that looks like you? Hell no, and you shouldn't do it for black people either. So why is racism still alive in America? Because everybody knows it is public dirty laundry that black people as a whole aren't doing so great crime-wise and I mean, jump into any statistic. And some people just cannot get past that. I think people should, but it also would be nice if it was no longer a factual problem. I mean, you've got a pool of job applicants, you just interviewed them all, and then in the back of their head, you're like, yeah, but I mean, 10 times more likely this, or 5 times more likely this. That's a stupid, wrong, racist way of thinking, but I mean, it's not based on lies. I understand why people would look at a thing and apply it to the whole group because people are stupid like that. But I mean, FYI, this cuts both ways. I heard a story about somebody, he went to an inner city school, got good grades, he was black, and one of his classmates who was also black said, don't do really well in school because that's white. You're acting too white. You're trying to pretend you're white and that you're better than us, trying to get a proper education and learn something. You know, black culture, the term and the idea is messed up when that's something that comes out of somebody's mouth. I mean, just the idea of, oh, that's a black restaurant. It's an American restaurant. Oh, I mean, we could go see that movie, but that's a black movie. I don't care. Is it a good movie? This whole, like, self-sustaining idea of isolation isn't helping. You know what happened at my school in a fairly large school district where we had, like, every background you could possibly imagine in pretty high represented numbers? Everybody grew up, born in Wisconsin. Nobody cared what anybody's color was. Nobody cared about anybody's parents. Nobody cared about where anybody's ancestors were from. It was just, we're all from Wisconsin. We're all here together. Whatever, let's hang out. I didn't care what skin color my friends were. It wasn't like, oh, all the black people got to stick together because, you know, that's a thing. Oh, all the Asians, they got to go do their own thing and be friends with each other because they're Asians, and that's that. That doesn't help anybody. That right there is what needs to end. The whole, like, self-imposed, oh, we're going to stick to our own kind. Oh, you're black, you need to dress this way, act this way, talk this way. Oh, and everybody else, they're outsiders. We're all Americans. Drop that bullshit. Let's all just get together. Let's work together. Let's be friends. Why would we not? I mean, on a large city scale, it's usually literally a language barrier for like first generation immigrants. But other than that, there's no reason for this mindset. And yet it continues. I mean, to everybody crying, racism, racism, racism. Oh, the whole country and society and politics is rigged against us and everything's terrible in this country. Why are all your friends the same color as you? What happened there? And if they're about to answer racism, yeah, every last person is racist to the point where you can't even associate with them. Yeah, that's a real thing. It's self-selection. It's another human psychology thing. People want to be around people that are similar to themselves, and it's the most immediately visual thing. But really, it just promotes racism, and people need to actively stop doing that. And like I said, besides the selective isolation and the separatism, and let's see how different we can be from everybody, other groups that shouldn't even be groups, they shouldn't even be divided up that way. That just amplifies the problem of, hey, look how many divorces there are in this culture, in this color, in this statistic, in this year, in this crime rate, and that. I mean, education level, incarceration level. Some people see the statistics and they're like, oh, that does not fit the narrative I was fed in school about equality and how racism is completely made up. That appears to actually be a real number right there. That's 10, 20, 30 times higher. And I think that is what is constantly seeding like new modern day racists. It's the image problem. Like I said, I don't support that. I think everybody should be treated completely neutral until you get to know them. So what if some number, probability, statistic, whatever, says that someone's so-and-so more likely to do this, that, or the other thing? I get a feel for how people are by being around them, okay? There's this thing called prejudice. It's where you judge someone based on assumptions and stereotypes or actual facts, either one, before you know anything about them, before they've said one word. That's racism. That's why it happens. That's how it happens. It shouldn't happen, but, you know, there it is. So I know that this is going to rub people the wrong way, but if you look at like single parent family rates in the black community, number one contributor to crime, by the way, just anything negative. Like, yeah, the numbers are higher. Ooh, surprise. I mean, what's not constructive is pointing fingers saying this is whose fault it is and blah, blah, blah. So it's not my problem. I don't need to fix it. What is constructive is doing things to fix it. And then they never get the spotlight. All the people volunteering to like help people in jail or just anti-domestic violence stuff because, you know, people were victims of it or they were even the perpetrators of it and they want to fix it. They're in there fixing the community. They're actually helping black people. Pointing fingers and blaming people, that doesn't do a damn thing, okay? Not only is it inaccurate, but it's a waste of time. And it's the old, oh, I'm going to find the splinter in your eye when I've got an entire log stuck in mine. Look inward and fix your own damn problems before you go around pointing out what's wrong with everybody else and how everybody's, you know, ruined your life except for yourself. And this goes way beyond any kind of color, okay? We had applicants at the place where I used to work where they're like, why didn't you hire me? And I'm like, domestic, drug charge, you dropped out of college, and they're all like, oh, this is discrimination. I grew up in a bad city. Blah, blah, blah. Well, but you made this mistake, and this mistake on your criminal history. Okay, that was your choice. You did that. You punched your girlfriend. Poverty didn't punch your girlfriend. Nobody of a different skin color than you punched your girlfriend. You punched your girlfriend. You decided to try drugs. You decided to go 110 miles an hour and wrap your car around a pole. Oh, but if I had a different upbringing and it was unfair from the get-go. Well, life isn't fair. Like I said, nothing's fair. Personal responsibility. Everybody, every color, every group, every age, every gender. Personal responsibility. Please, fix your own damn life. Pointing fingers, no. Fix your own shit, yes. Hopefully I've made that point. And yet, what do we have? We have areas where they're like, the police are all out to get us and it's all racism in an area where most of the police are black. Like, are you kidding me? How delusional are you? Oh, black people are all doing terrible. They're not making any money and they're all in jail because the cops. How about you go volunteer at like a women's shelter or like a homeless shelter or some educational program or some summer program or after school program for people who have a terrible home situation? How about you go out and fix the problems in your community instead of just blame. And that's all we hear every day online on the media is blame. You should feel bad for being white. You should feel bad for being a man. You should feel bad for this. Stop lying to yourself. Stop deflecting. Just fix the damn problems. If you really want to help people, whatever group you choose to focus on, like I said, age, gender, disability, doesn't matter. Whatever group you're like, I'm going to help them out. Do something to help them out. Do something constructive. Just get out and do actually anything. Instead of screaming racism, that doesn't do anything. Not only is it inaccurate and a complete fantasy, a paranoid, delusional, non-reality pushed on you by certain groups who want you to think of yourself as a victim, but on top of it being completely false, it doesn't do anything. Now, the one point that people like to brush aside is that 1 or 2 generations ago, it was the 50s. Some people's families are not great because 2 generations down the line, they're still poor because nobody would give the person a job because of their skin color. You got a nice, stable, middle-class family, you're gonna just do better. Yeah. So can people legitimately pin their situation on racism? Yes, just as a factual, this is cause and effect. But like I said, you gotta move on. It's 2020. The majority of people aren't racist anymore. Just move on. Yes, you got dealt a bad lot in life. Cool. Some people are born with disabilities. Some people aren't born in America. Some people are born into families that had massive discrimination 70 years ago. Oh, well. I'm not saying there's anything okay with what happened, but what are you going to do? Time travel? Like I said, literally time travel is the only solution. Complaining about it is not a solution. Demanding reparations and money from people that had absolutely nothing to do with it and have never said a racist thing in their life is not a realistic option. You want to address it directly? Go dig up some idiot racist grave and yell at them in person. Like, what are you even doing? I get it. A lot of black people were poor because their parents or grandparents were poor, but we can't fix it now. So stop living in the past. Like I said earlier in the video, newsflash, most people aren't born into a wealthy family in America. Most people are poor. You can use it as an excuse, you can get over it, or you can use it as motivation. I mean, if you get your leg cut off in a farming accident, you can either blame that for everything wrong with your life from then on, or you can just be like, okay, we're gonna move on from this. It's unfair, that sucked, I wish it wouldn't have happened, it's terrible, it's a disadvantage. Nothing was okay about what happened. Nothing ever will be okay about what happened. It was a terrible thing with terrible results that are going to be an issue for the foreseeable future. So what, you give up? You just every day wake up and just blame that? Blame something that already happened that you can't change? Or just be like, yes, this sucked. Okay, let's go. Let's move on. So the whole idea of, well, modern white people are responsible for what white people did because they shared a skin color 70 or 100 years ago. Well, no, they're not. They're their own person. I can't retroactively control what my ancestors did. I can't control what people do right now in my own current family. Once again, this is all just blame other people. Now I feel better. Well, does that do anything? Is that constructive? Did that help your life in any way? No, it did not. Guess what? Life's not fair. If you're born into a rich family, you'd probably grow up to be an asshole. So maybe let's just take our starting position in life and run with it. You could have started the game as a crack-addicted orphan with dead alcoholic parents in Russia. Good luck making that work. My parents were poor because racism. Yes, you're not wrong, but can we move on? I'm a very driven person personally. I don't care what's in my way. I'm just going to plow through it. I'm going to go. We're going to work hard. We're going to make this work. I'm going to do what I need to do and just, what is the other option? Oh, blame everybody else but me. You ever heard of this thing called personal responsibility, everybody? I think we need to implement a class in all public schools called taking personal responsibility for your life. Maybe cut some dumb waste of time like geology. People are wired to think that they're perfect and everything that goes wrong is automatically somebody else's fault because then they can feel better about it. Nobody wants to admit when they're wrong. Nobody wants to admit when they're doing something detrimental to themselves. It's just, that's not human nature. Everybody wants someone to blame. That's why I said it's a very seductive brainwashing when you've got, I guess I won't name names, but certain organizations professionally telling people you're a victim, you're discriminated against, you just don't know it, you gotta look harder, it's everywhere, everything wrong with your life is this group's fault. Don't you feel better now? Boy, would I hate to get convinced of some bullshit like that and walk through life thinking everybody's out to get me from some certain majority group. Just like I said, the feminist movement, where all men are out to get you. All men are going to discriminate against you. They're all going to do this, that, and this, and that. They're all terrible. See, look at this example of a terrible individual human being, regardless of gender. There you go. All men are terrible. Look at this one ignorant old white person. Racism, they're all racist. It's all of them. That's what's wrong with your life. Everybody's keeping you down. All the cops, the whole legal infrastructure is to keep you down. So you don't have a chance. You might as well just give up and complain about it online. Oh, I don't have to take personal responsibility now for any mistakes I made in my life, for any, not working hard enough, not doing this, not doing that, not moving on from this tragedy, that disaster. It's all someone else's fault. My whole life is a disaster because of somebody else's fault. I do feel better now. Welcome to the narrative of this entire protest right now. It's all cops and white people, they're the worst. Oh, racist, they're terrible. Cops, they're all out to get us. Oh, it's such a problem that I have to burn a building. Now that said, I should point out, if you're falling for like the base level image of this riot, you're an idiot. People are like crossing state lines. They're organizing online. There's names for them. I think one of them's like Blue Igloo or some dumb thing where they're just anarchists. They're anti-government. They want to see it collapse. Some of them are foreign agents. Some of them are paid by billionaires to light stuff on fire and throw a garbage can through your auto zone. They come from far away. They distribute, they plan, and they have an agenda. You ever notice the like pallets of landscaping bricks that are just showing up in the middle of these riots out of nowhere, just on a sidewalk? Somebody just left them there? That's so strange. That is so weird. I wonder if somebody did that on purpose. First of all, most of these people causing all this damage and stuff, they're not black. A lot of the black protesters have noticed that they're not black and said something about it. Good for them. I mean, these are political extremists. They have very extreme views. Like I said, anarchists mostly. Paranoid, delusional people who probably should be on some kind of pill. That's who's doing the damage. The rest of the people are just protesting and yelling because they're mad and they're misled about the state of society, to be perfectly honest. But the real craziness going on where people are like, oh, black people are going to take over the country. That's the narrative. And also, I'm hearing rumors that a couple like KKK member racist type people, they're the ones trying to like frame black people and make like the cops come into the military and shoot all the black people. That's a direct quote that I heard online from these hateful pieces of human garbage. Because, ironically, they were brought up and their parents told them everything wrong with society is black people's fault. Oh, they vote Democrat and they ruin the government and they get all the welfare money and all this other bullshit. Oh, look how many of them are in jail. Oh, they're wrong with everything wrong with America is black people. And then, well, that's in their head. So they go to a protest where there's black people thinking that white people are all the problem and cops are all the problem. And rich people are all the problem, which, I mean, they kind of are. And then the KKK people start lighting stuff on fire and writing like BLM and Antifa and this and that. And they're trying to frame black people for it to make them look worse. This is a shitstorm. Everything in the last 10 years has to be super political and all about image and propaganda and presentation. Not reality, not facts. It's all about lies. It's about getting the public to buy something, buy into some belief. And then there you go. These anarchists, dumbasses, these KKK members, they don't care if they're 1 in 1,000 of the population. If that's enough to influence how society thinks of a certain group that they don't like, that's good enough for them, and this is an opportunity for them. So those are the ringleaders in all this nonsense, so don't take it at face value. It's like, look at all these angry Antifa protesters. Yeah, some of them are extremist terrorist nut jobs because they're so paranoid and delusional about the state of things that they're just like, burn it all down. But it's not entirely them. It's probably not even the majority of them. Okay, these are like professionals. It's planned. It's orchestrated. Trust me. The evidence is there. These people have been found in multiple protests over anything. They don't even care what it is over half the time. They just want to cause chaos because that's what they're planning to do. Like I said, they're basically just terrorists. They want to bring down the American government and have whatever bullshit form of government or non-government they feel is more proper. And they don't feel like voting. Probably because most of them are felons. But for the average everyday person to show up to these protests because they're like, yeah, I do want people to get treated equally, and I don't always see that. In rare occasions, it's like, what's going on here? So I just want to remind people that, that's not okay. It's 2020. That's not okay. Society knows that's not okay. I think the average person knows that's not okay. Like I said, you say something off color in like a restaurant, on the street, wherever, you are going to get attacked. The acceptance level for racism in America is like 0. We don't need some march. We don't need megaphones. We don't need signs to tell us racism bad. It's 2020. My gosh. This is not segregation period, okay? It's so tone deaf and disrespectful to people who lived decades ago. It's unbelievable. Yes, the problem isn't fixed, but is it as good as we can get when you know 1, 2, 3% of the society is just going to be ignorant dumbasses? What percent of society thinks the earth is flat, okay? There's going to be some dumbasses and we can't like magically Thanos snap them away. Trust me, I wish I could. There's just generally hateful, angry, broken people walking around society every day, making everyone around them's life miserable. Trust me, I worked customer service. It's not a color thing, a gender thing, an age thing. It's just bad people. Their upbringing was garbage. Their whole life is falling apart, and they're just angry, terrible, hateful wastes of space. That's your KKK members right there. Do I wish we could get rid of all of these ignorant racists that still exist? Yes, but we're not going to. Until society is magically perfect, everybody has a perfect family structure, everybody's upbringing is perfect, and every brain and mood and psychological disorder is solved, oh well. I mean, you can't fix everyone. I'm not going to use the term society is good enough because it isn't. I still think there's a little bit too many of those types of people and still a little bit too much racism in America. But these delusional protesters and these people who are buying into Antifa's lies and Black Lives Matter's lies that everyone's out to get you, everyone's racist, and all the cops are out to get you, and all your whole life is rigged against you, and you should be angry and donate money to us. All they are is a bunch of hateful racists that hate white people. It's really that simple. That's who runs this stuff, okay? It's not reverse racism, it's racism. It's Nazi Germany. Everything wrong with society is white people's fault. Push it all on them. Let's hate on them. Let's do everything bad to shut them down. And yeah, same bullshit, different color. If you have given groups like that just racism promoting groups saying that they're working for equality when every word out of their mouth is how much they hate white people, if you have given them a penny, you are supporting racism. You're bringing it back. You're making the racial divide a little bit bigger, just a couple inches bigger by supporting it financially, online, verbally, morally, going out to one of these protests, any of this crap, supporting them in any way. And I know a lot of people are just ignorant. They're out there like, oh, this is about equality. I like equality. Cool, I'll show up. But the people who really hear their message and get into it and buy into it, that is the problem. Okay, we need that to go away. The constant blaming, the constant, I'm not going to take responsibility for my own life, my own problems, my own job situation, financial situation, family situation. I'm just going to shift it all off and blame it on some racist that exists somewhere. That bullshit needs to stop. Okay? Why the federal government hasn't cracked down on groups like this is amazing. They hide behind free speech, but some of them are online like, hey, burn all the white suburbs. Well, you actually can't legally say that. That's illegal. That's a crime. And it's a hate crime because it's racist as f***. Well, that's what happens when somebody whispers in your ear, it's all this person's fault. It's all this color's fault. It's all this gender's fault. And you start to think, yeah, I like that. I like that idea. It's not my fault. It's their fault. Personal responsibility all around. Everyone in America needs a little bit more of it. And should America just stop talking about race relations and different color differences and history and all? Hell no. If you don't constantly know about history and the mistakes that were made in the past, you are doomed to repeat it. Hey, that sounds familiar. Well, I think that's a famous quote, isn't it? For good reason. Never forget how things were in the past, but move on. You can't blame it forever. So just last little thing, if you think you don't need a gun because nothing bad will ever happen to you, besides, actual widespread crime statistics, and the fact that I've had to pull my gun on 4 people on 4 occasions since I got it 6 years ago, if you don't own pepper spray and a gun because you need options, and by the way, contact tasers, total absolute joke, do not buy them. They do not work like the professional ones. But yeah, people saying, why would I need a gun? This just because it didn't happen for the last 10 years doesn't mean it never happened. We have rioting and this and that and Hurricane Katrina, people shooting at each other and wildfires, and there's looting. The moment that people know that the police aren't coming, a certain percentage of them are going to do whatever the hell they want. Now you see this constantly on a small scale. You're in an alley, the police can't get here for 5 minutes. Guess what? They're kidnapping you. They're shooting you. They're robbing you. Oh, that'll never happen. Look at the odds. What is it, 1 in 100, 1 in 1,000? First of all, higher than you think, and secondly, wouldn't you rather have a gun in that situation? When anybody buys a gun and gets a concealed carry permit and carries around a gun every day, their first hope should be that they never have to use it, that it sits on their hip and gathers dust forever. Because I almost had to shoot somebody mugging me, but luckily they saw the gun and ran off, which, by the way, is a statistic you will never hear ever reported. It's like 50 times more common than shootings. criminal or defensive against a criminal, both combined. Most gun incidents end because the gun came out and then it's over. And I don't mean because the trigger was pulled. But yeah, a whole bunch of members of my very anti-gun family are now buying guns. Because of just this. They wait till it gets too real, till it's real to them, until it's right here in front of their face, then they want to buy a gun. Well, pull your head out of your ass and realize what reality is and what the numbers are and buy a gun. Right now. If it's legal in your area. Gun ownership is so important. And did you notice that anti-gun laws are always, they're worded incorrectly, they're vague, they're overreaching, they're a disaster, and clearly written by people who don't know about guns, because people who are anti-gun don't know about guns, because it's not their thing, it's not their hobby, for lack of a better term. Well, ignorant people who don't know what they're talking about shouldn't be making anti-gun laws. They shouldn't be making any gun laws. Once you learn the truth, what gun ownership is really about, what guns really do, when you should use them, when you shouldn't, what the laws are, there is no other side of the discussion. It's own a gun, period. Unless you are known to be mentally unstable or don't trust yourself, or I don't know. Sparing exceptions, everybody should have one. That's why the countries that disarm their people, well, the government tends to overreach a little bit more, don't they? They tend to really abuse human rights, people's rights, privacy, everything. Here comes the red tape, here comes this and that, because, well, you know, what are they going to do? Rise up, protest, shoot people, get violent? I mean, you don't need guns to do it, but it helps. Every single human on this planet has the right to defend their own life. That's ridiculous that any place would ban guns. Any human being above a certain age without a criminal history or violent history or mental problems, obviously. So if you're just now getting scared, oh, I wonder if this will turn into a civil war. No, it won't. Are you kidding me? It's a bunch of dumbass millennial, like, internet warrior, keyboard warrior dumbasses throwing bricks through windows because somebody on the internet told them to. Considering gun ownership in the US is like 53% of households, I think we've got them outgunned. We've got them outmatched. Literally the entire military could stay home and we'd still win this one. So like, why do I own a gun? Because, well, people are stopping cars on the street and trying to pull people out of their cars and beat them up because of the color of their skin. Because they're either an evil anarchist trying to frame people or just cause chaos, or because they're that delusional about race and the boogeyman white people are out to get them, that they end up doing violent crime like that because they've been lied to for so long they think, yeah, this is the proper way to address this. Well, people like that exist in society, and that's why I own multiple weapons. You try and pull me out of my car after smashing my window with a crowbar, I'm gonna blow your f***ing head off. And you deserve it, both morally and legally. It's a shame it had to come to that, but that's on you, isn't it? Self-defense is a human right. Defending your own life and saving your own life is a human right. It's literally the right to keep on living. Are you kidding me? Who would say that's not a human right? But mass shootings, yeah, well, mass truck ramming, poisonings, bombings, stabbings. Unless you're psychic, you aren't going to stop bad people from doing bad things, unless you want to try to toddler-proof your entire country, which, how is that going in England? What are they up to now? Acid attacks, I think? They tried to ban all the knives, and nobody can cook now. I know that. Yeah, toddler-proof nanny states don't work. You know what stops a bad person with a bad plan? 1 in 10 people in the crowd having a gun. Remember the church shooting in Texas where 6 people drew a gun and 1 headshotted him across the entire auditorium in about 2 seconds? That's how you stop a mass murdering evil person in 2 seconds. 2 seconds. If it isn't guns, it'll be a truck. If it's not a truck, it'll be a bomb. If it's not a bomb, it'll be poison. If it's not poison, it'll be acid or a knife or some kind of trap or just, I mean, I'm not going to describe the different ways to kill a lot of people in this video. Let's just say you can't stop all of them. Oh, wait, but you can stop any of them with a gun. So give people guns. It's that stupid of an argument for people to say, no, nobody should have guns. That'll solve all violent crime and evil people. They'll just give up and go home and not do anything. They'll all of a sudden not be crazy and violent. The gun was the problem. The gun told them to do it. Just shut the hell up. So if recent events haven't taught you that you might need a gun, and like power outages and like riots and you know, hurricanes and earthquakes, food shortages, which could have gotten a lot worse than they did, and then people start shooting, trust me, you need a gun. So there, now you're fully educated on the entire conservative talking point spectrum. Just kidding, like 10% of it. I'm hyper-conservative. I absolutely hate Trump. I think he's a pompous idiot who needs to learn science and listen to anybody around him and stop doing everything for electability and his own ego and actually just like run the country, like actually do his damn job. So that's who you're listening to now, in case you're curious. I'm sure people are going to accuse me of otherwise in the comment section. I'm just a guy who sees reality for what it is and spouts off truth on the internet. If you like this video, leave a big ol' like on it. I'm sure it'll be demonetized. I'll be lucky if YouTube doesn't come in with their liberal army and throw a big ol' hissy fit over it, because they don't like it when you rock the boat on their like delusional version of reality. But please, Post this on social media, share it with anybody. Everybody in the damn world needs to hear this message. We need less media sensationalism, less lies, less propaganda, less spin about what's going on, and more truth, facts, reality, psychology, history, physics, I'm sure came up at some point, math, hard science, facts, can't dispute them. Thanks for coming back to reality in this video. I will see you guys next awesome video.